for joining us this afternoon. Could you begin by telling us just a bit about who you are and why you've decided to join us in this conversation?
My name's Donna Aravanis, and I was born without my right foot. And so I had some challenges growing up. I come from a very spiritual background, growing in the Anglican Church. And so God has been a very big presence in my life. And I never really thought much about power and how, especially myself and power. But recently there have been some situations. I've gone through breast cancer. And so I have that experience and the way I was able to manage after and through that. Also having two daughters, raising them. I actually went into the library at Woodward Park and I saw a flyer about this. And I thought, I do know something about power. And normally I think about superheroes or famous people, but I'm an ordinary person, and I want to be able to share my story with others who might feel like ordinary people that don't experience power, and let people know that you can.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you do know a thing or two about power. What would you say power means to you? How would you maybe define having power or using it?
Well, I've thought a lot about this. Power really, I feel, is the ability to have an effect on people or circumstances. And you can experience power in your choices in life. And so for me, having power is really to not limit yourself, not set boundaries around yourself, but see boundaries as a challenge to meet and exceed. And if you can also influence people, inspire people, help people, you have power in your words and your interactions. And that's what power is to me.
Mm-hmm. So how have you come to that understanding, though? It sounds like there might be some experiences underlying that insight.
Yes. Well, first of all, I have to say that back in 2007, I had this extraordinary dream. I dreamt that God was present, and I was by this old gnarly tree. And he said, come over to this tree. I'm going to strike lightning, and I'm going to put my power into you. So in the dream, I was very fearful. But God was telling me to do this. So I decided, okay, I better do this. And when I went and I was struck by lightning, I could feel my entire body vibrating with God's power. And I knew I could feel, not just in my head, but in my heart, what God's power was. And he could do miracles through me or otherwise. And to him, a miracle is just like nothing. To us, it seems miraculous that it can't be done. But I woke up from that dream and I thought, does God want to put his power into me for some reason? And nothing presented itself. But then about 3 years later, almost to the day, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, I feel like I'm struck by lightning now. And so I knew that God would give me the power to get through it. And that was really the beginning of my own personal power, I think.
Mm-hmm. So prior to that dream, had you had, similar experiences or felt power in any way?
My experience with power was more within the church and mm-hmm. God being powerful. But I suppose that through other people's experience of me, because I was a mm-hmm. child that had an artificial leg, mm-hmm. but was pretty much unstoppable, even as a child. So, I'd be up there climbing cherry trees, and I remember my neighbors would be freaking out a little bit, thinking, oh, what is she doing? She's going to fall on the tree. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was nothing. And so I did have power in that situation, but to me, it didn't feel like I had power.
Because of other people's reactions to seeing it, sort of maybe their doubts.
Yes.
As to whether you could do it.
Right. And it's interesting because I find now when people have doubts about something that I can do, that encourages me all the more. And I feel empowered by their doubts because, you're not going to tell me I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So what brought about that change? What was it? Was it the dream? Was it both the dream and going through cancer? Would you pinpoint?
I think it was having that dream and feeling the power, but then going through the cancer and knowing that I could inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
And after I was in remission and well on the way to healing, I decided that I wanted to join a boot camp that I had wanted all along to
mm-hmm.
join, but just never had. Kind of thinking, well, is this too much for me? And I remember our boot camp commander, Jennifer Alcorn, was doing a little class for my work. Mm-hmm. And she was wrapping people's hands because she's a champion boxer.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so she was giving people the opportunity to come up and actually box with her. And everybody was kind of sitting in their chairs. And I'm like, I'll do it. And I just jumped up and I said, I'll do it. I've been through cancer. I can do this. So I guess maybe it was kind of the cancer because I felt, hey, I've been through cancer. I survived. I've got this whole new life ahead of me. I have a new, bolder spirit. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines anymore. I'm going to jump in and play the game of life and really be in it. So, yeah.
And then I understand since then you've gone on to, you've written a book, you've climbed Half Dome, you're doing all sorts of things.
Yes. I think it was the start of going to boot camp and being challenged physically to do different things and be out there. The first thing I tried, I wanted to do a half marathon. Mm-hmm. I had never run. I was not a runner. I never thought of myself ever as athletic. I was a music student, so even regardless of the fact that I had an artificial leg, I just never felt athletic. But I was inspired to try a half marathon. And all of my boot camp buddies decided to sign up with me. So we had shirts made up, and I had one that said 1 leg, 1 breast, 1 goal to finish the race. And then they all had matching shirts, but it said just 1 goal to finish the race. So each leg, each mile of that race, I had a buddy going along with me, cheering me on. And after that, we continued with hiking buddies, and we decided we wanted to hike Mount Half Dome. I had always wanted to do Half Dome, but kind of never thought that it was something that I could do. And now with this new group of friends, we were able to climb Mount Half Dome, and I had friends help me up the cables because I wasn't quite strong enough, and they helped pull me up all the way. And when I got to the top, I had a picture taken with holding onto a hiking pole and lifting my artificial leg up into the air. And then I was wearing Jennifer Alcorn's robe because she had given it to me in memory of her, because she said that I was an inspiration to her. And we had postcards made up that said, the sky is the limit. And it just kind of says how I want to live my life. The sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. So within your life, you've definitely, it sounds like, inspired countless people. What inspirations and supports have been most important to you in achieving what you've achieved and what you continue to achieve?
Well, first of all, I have to say that my faith in God and my church community is a big inspiration. I feel if I am not going to church on a regular basis, I am not being fed spiritually. Mm-hmm. And so that inspires me. My close group of friends, my boot camp buddies inspire me. And trying to think of, I try to listen to a lot of inspirational tapes and books and videos. So I will feed my mind with spiritual and uplifting thoughts that help motivate me.
Mm-hmm. So this may be hard to even imagine, but if, for instance, you had not gone through those experiences that you just described, would your understanding of your own personal power be drastically different, or do you feel like you would have still kind of come into your own and felt very self-actualized otherwise?
I think it would probably take longer, or maybe not to the same extent. I always felt something inside me, and I still feel that today, that there is this immense energy and force that is wanting to get out and express itself. And it does so more than it used to, but it's still there. And I know there are big things there. But I think eventually I would experience that, but I don't know to what degree.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost that you needed those challenges to really push you.
I think so. I agree with that, because when you come up to a wall, you can either back down and say, oh, I can't do it, or you push through and you discover things about yourself that you didn't think was possible. So you kind of reinvent yourself with each wall that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you would have probably reinvented yourself a different way.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your experiences with us today. And here's to many more impressive hiking trips and other achievements for you.
Yeah. The next thing is I'm going to swim from Alcatraz. So that's my next big adventure, and who knows what else I'll do. But life is great, and I look forward to sharing it and hopefully inspiring people.
Well, thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing updates from you.
All right. Thank you.